this, don't we? Tom Newton-Dunn, Aisha Hazarika are here. Should we start with this amazing photograph on the front of The Guardian? They are herding into vote in the division lobby, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are. This was an extraordinary picture, tweeted by Bill Esterson. I have to tell you, in complete breach of the parliamentary rules, because you're not allowed to take pictures inside the estate. And whatever us poor journalists do, we get a terrible telling off from the Sergeant Arms, but MPs seem to get away with it. Anyway, it's an amazing picture, and we're rather pleased Bill Esterson has done that, because it's going to go into history, this one. This picture was taken just as the vote was beginning around 7:30. We thought the government was going to be defeated. We thought by around 80 to 100. We had no idea it would be this scale. It is, as you say, a record-breaking, historically big scale. And Bill Esterson tweeted a couple more pictures showing a queue to get into the no lobby. And then they all lined up. And there's Boris, you can see on the left-hand side. Sir Graham Brady, the chairman of the Backbench 22 committee, also in the throng, Shailesh Vara, former Justice Minister, in their droves trying to bring down Theresa May's deal.
So the question now is, vote of no confidence, how much of what is going on, how much of the political parties, how much of who runs government, how much of it is all now up in the air?
Well, I think everything is up in the air, and I think every political commentator worth their salt will have to say that nobody knows where this is really going to end up. We're also in this extraordinary position where I think MPs in both the big major parties just feel absolutely disillusioned with where their leadership has led them, both on the Conservative side but also on the Labour side. I mean, a few Conservative MPs I spoke to, I was hosting a rally for the People's Vote just outside Parliament as the votes were happening, and many Tory MPs I spoke to, even though, you know, they were voting against Theresa May with a very heavy heart, they do not like to rebel again. That's not why they came into politics. And I think there is just dismay that she has mishandled the situation so catastrophically right from the start. And still today, after this historic, embarrassing humiliation, she's basically like, nothing has changed. I'm kind of going to plough on. I'm sort of going to talk to other people, but I'm not really going to change my red lines. We are stuck. And that is why the only option is to do a people's vote.
Yes, and that's on trade you're talking about, isn't it? I know Yvette Cooper despairing that Theresa May is not widening her brief into who she wants to speak to from other political parties. Telegraph calls it a complete humiliation. All the focus on Theresa May. Yeah. Is this, you know, down to her? Does this land at her door entirely?
That's going to be an unbelievably good book to write one day. Okay. For me, I'll be dead before this thing finally finishes. But I think any Prime Minister would be in her position, or one similar to her now, because this thing is an unbelievably hard thing to deliver.
So, for example, if this had been a Labour Prime Minister who was doing it, would we, and trying to deliver a compromise, which effectively is what she did, would they still be in the same position?
Well, Theresa May's problem, why she's got herself into the mess she's got herself into, is because she's trying to take the entirety of the Conservative Party with her. The Conservative Party are so rabidly at war over what type of Brexit to have, or even any Brexit, that it's almost amazing she's got this far. Labour, however, have been slightly out of the spotlight, because it is all, after all, Theresa May is the government, it's their job to do it. But the splits in Labour are even bigger. And I think we'll see those play out over the next few days when Jeremy Corbyn no longer has that.
I have to take a slightly different view. I think she has completely failed in the politics of this, right? I think she's actually managed to get the best deal that it is possible to do, but she's failed on the politics. What she should have done on day one, when she stood on the steps of Downing Street, a very, very divided country, she should have reached out to people. She should have reached out to the opposition parties. She should have reached out to leaders in Scotland, in Wales. She should have reached out to business. The problem is she's kept everybody in the dark, including members of her own cabinet. The thing about politics is sometimes the art of the deal in politics is making people think that it's their idea, and they take ownership of the success. She did nothing of that, so I'm afraid she has brought this on herself.
Now, what's going to be really interesting is she's got this far by keeping the Tory party together and basically not choosing between the two wings of the Remain soft Brexit faction versus the Brexiteer hard Brexit faction. And she's managed to get them this far until tonight, when it all broke down at 7:30 PM in the division lobbies. However, after tonight, she's going to have to choose. Is it going to be a hard no-deal Brexit, when you probably don't give the terms to the likes of Boris Johnson they want, no backstop whatsoever? Or is it going to be a softer Brexit when she goes through the lobbies for something like EA or a customs union with her Remainers and Labour? That will split the party. Talking to some senior ministers tonight, ministers in the Foreign Office, elsewhere, saying that they don't believe this is really going to be, there's much further to go as a united party.
So sorry, who's going to hive off?
So Alan Duncan is of the view that the deal was the best thing they were ever going to get. When Theresa May goes for a softer Brexit, if that's what she does, then the Leavers, the 118 of them or so, maybe there are 10 remainers in there, but they will not vote for Theresa May or anything else she ever does, because they think she's fundamentally betrayed the vote of the British people. The Remainers, however, if Theresa May goes for a no-deal Brexit, which is what the Brexiteers want, will not ever vote for her ever again either. And you have almost a divide that will never come back together again. It's so philosophically huge.
Yes. One other question. So the Tory party, as is, will be left of what then?
It will split into two, or certainly be two very powerful factions fighting each other to death. And the natural consequence is, if these people can't come together, produce one manifesto, they split and Labour come in.
But I think this is the problem with the Conservative Party. We've talked about this for a long time. I felt it very acutely at the Conservative Party conference this year. There is a battle not just going on about Brexit, but also the ideological soul of the Conservative Party.
Absolutely.
A bit like Labour went through after we lost the 2015 general election campaign. And in terms of, look, if she was really smart and thought, right, I want to get some deal through, she would go to Jeremy Corbyn and say, look, I'll do you a deal on the customs union. That's the really that's the thing that stands between them. But she's already said tonight that she's not going to do that. She's saying that she's going to talk to people, but she's not prepared to give on any of her red lines.
I mean, it's almost as if this part of the Tory party has been suppressed, you know, through Maastricht, the Lisbon Treaty, and it started to grow as a flower with the rise of UKIP and the promise of David Cameron to give a referendum. To your paper, The Sun, May's Brexit deal dead as a dodo, Brextinct, PM crushed. Is that really it? Because it means now, of course, that if there was a second referendum or a people's vote, and the talk was it might be Theresa May's withdrawal agreement, you know, and her future partnership against no deal or against remaining, she can't put this deal to the people now, can she?
Well, I think it would be incredibly illegitimate for her to put this deal. It's very hard to have a deal which has been so, without doubt, just rejected by Parliament. So I think now, if there is to be a second vote, and I hope there will be, I mean, there'll be a lot of horse trading of what the question will be. You're really looking at sort of an in-out first question, and then a second question.
We've had that. We've had it now.
Well, or you have to really put probably a no deal or staying in, because I think I think we're going to have that's
just a straight rerun. It starts to become democratically harder to say a second vote needs to be exactly what's been had before.
The other thing
two votes, you have at the same time two questions, in, out, and if it's out, Theresa May deals or no deal. I think she can put this deal to the British people because it's the only deal that you are going to offer, it looks like. And the basic bottom line of the British policy, and I keep on saying it, and I've told you, I'm telling everyone else, it's the numbers. The only thing that matters from now on in is how many MPs are prepared to vote for what. If you get a majority of MPs saying we'll have a second referendum and we will put Theresa May's deal to the country, that will happen.
In any normal circumstance, a Prime Minister who had a parliamentary history-making defeat of 230 would be out. The Fixed Term Parliaments Act is saving her, but the Daily Mail pointing out she is still fighting for her life. Big day again tomorrow, but still expected to win that confidence vote.
Yeah, she is expected to win that vote. The DUP have already said that they would sort of back her. A lot of, even quite critical Remain MPs have said that they'll still have confidence in her because they don't want a Jeremy Corbyn government. So she's in the extraordinary position where she has managed to win, well, possibly, let's see where we get to tomorrow. She could be in a position where she's won 2 votes of confidence, of no confidence in herself, yet she's completely without power and nobody can really get rid of her. She said she's going to go by the next general election. Nobody really wants to come in right now because it's still a poison chalice. So, it's a really extraordinary situation.
But a crucial line on the front page of the Daily Mail, and I know we'll go inside as well. The Cabinet split over her plan to work with Labour. And we'll go inside the paper too. The night the Tories betrayed their leader, I suppose, almost 120 vote against their leader and declare her deal dead in the water. Could the Cabinet still do for Theresa May? Do you think they are also split?
I think the only way you can get Theresa May out now, because remember when she won her confidence vote of her own party, which feels like an age ago, but it was about 4 weeks ago, that automatically guarantees her a full year before anyone else can challenge her. The men in grey suits, and there's quite a few ladies in grey suits as well these days, can challenge her and say, look, we're just simply not going to work for you any longer, you really are going to have to go. But it would have to be the Cabinet doing that. And when the Cabinet is split, as it is badly down the middle, we'll go on to talk about that in the second half, then the Cabinet don't dare to do that because the last thing the Cabinet want is full-blown civil war. Philip Hammond, interesting I was told, didn't speak in Cabinet today. The one thing he did say is, Theresa, whatever you do, you mustn't go because that would soften
if this isn't civil war, what is civil war?
I agree. I agree. It's all coming. It's all coming.
Just
it's here.
Picking up on Quentin Letz's the headline for Quentin Letz's piece there, members craned their necks to see the woman on the scaffold. Did it feel like a sort of traitorous response? Because many of them were, very heavy in their hearts at voting against their leader, weren't they, in terms of Tories at least?
The Mail's sympathy for May is absolutely fascinating. And I think, funnily enough, I think that might be reflected in the country as well, as people look at this from the outside thinking, what are you all shouting about? Yeah. What is it with this woman you just can't abide? What it is an awful lot of frustration built up over 2 years. Remember, she threw away the Tories' majority. She threw away what a lot of the hard Brexiteers would say was their perfect Brexit. The Remainers are furious with her because they think she's betrayed them too. So people are angry with this one woman who is trying to do her level best, albeit in a pretty stubborn, slightly clunky way.
I think there is less sympathy than the commentariat are making out. I think there's a lot of people out there who are really having a hard time right now. They're looking at problems with the education service, with the health service, whether you were affected by the Windrush scandal, and thinking this is a shambles and she is the Prime Minister, she's presided over this. And I think sympathy is actually run out a long, long time ago.
Or they just want it done, don't they? So it's a balance, isn't it? Coming up, the Labour perspective, no deal, no hope, no coup, no confidence. We continue discussing coverage of the vote in tomorrow's papers. There is the left-leaning Daily Mirror's view of what's happened today.